Now, this week, I think the biggest event this week was Prince William meeting Donald Trump. I'm going to correct myself there. It's actually Donald Trump meeting Prince William. And what I mean by this is Donald Trump went to see Prince William in Paris. It was at the British Embassy. William was late because of the storms in the UK, and Donald Trump had to come after the Notre Dame ceremony to meet William. The palace are at pains to kind of point out that Prince William is maybe becoming or hoping to become a global statesman. Him going over to Paris to meet Donald Trump instead of the King, what do we make of that? Where does that put William on a global scale now?
Well, I think William already is a global statesman, and I saw that when he went to Israel. He was outstanding there. You know, he was absolutely like the perfect diplomat. But I think, Donald Trump is going to be the next president of America, and a lot of people in this country are concerned about that. But it was elected. They were elected by the people of America, and that's fine. And I think William, like the Prime Minister, has embraced that man, and the fact that we've got to work with him. And of course, when he came to England on a state visit when he was president last time, he praised the Queen, how much he liked the Queen, how much he liked the royal family, and I think that just reflects what he was with William. I think with William, William's going to be the king one day, God willing, and I think Trump has just been really nice, and he's got that nice side to him. I experienced it once when I photographed him, and he was absolutely charming. So, in spite of what we've seen in the build-up to the election and some of the things he's been saying on the stump, in fact, he can have a charming side to him, and I think that's worked with William.
There's no one that Arthur hasn't met.
Exactly.
You've even met Trump.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, I spoke to people who were there, because it was a small, tight little group. They were in the Salon Jaune, the yellow room at the ambassador's residence, and they said that Trump and his team were actually quite reverential, very polite, very respectful, and he treats the royal family in a certain way. But it's important that that our royal family, William and the King, have a good relationship with the President-elect of the United States.
I think it certainly is. I mean, certainly our Labour government doesn't seem to have a very good relationship with the President. And he's such an Anglophile, Trump. He loves everything British, or certainly because his mother was Scottish, and he says that's what he talked to the late Queen about. And William is young. He's perfect as a global ambassador for the UK and above politics, supposedly. So he's the perfect person to talk to Trump, and apparently they talked for about 40 minutes, which is a long time. And I am certain somehow he would have got in about climate change, because it is William's big thing. And we understand that Trump doesn't believe in climate change. So William would have found a subtle way of getting it in, I'm sure.
But that's right. So I think we had 40 seconds, I think, of their meeting, and I think Trump said that William was a good man, a tall man, I think he referenced. And later he described how William was a handsome man. Yeah. So they clearly got on, but we don't know what was said for the rest of those 40 minutes. So, I mean, anything could have been discussed between the two. But this is where William now finds himself, standing in for the King, meeting world leaders. I mean, you have both known him basically since he was born. Is he a good fit to become, this kind of face of Britain on the world stage?
Well, you took pictures of him as a baby, didn't you?
I did, when he came out of hospital with his mother's arms, yeah. But, I mean, the thing is, if you remember, when our King was the Prince of Wales, he used to stand in for the Queen. He'd go to all the overseas funerals, and he did that for years. In fact, he cancelled his wedding to Camilla to go to the Pope's funeral. He didn't cancel, he put it back a day, sorry about that, sir. And he put it back a day because he'd go to the funeral of Pope John Paul II. So they've always been doing that. And of course, the King is lacking energy at the moment. He's just come back from a really long tour of Australia and Samoa, and it was pretty gruelling for him. I know, because I was there. It was gruelling for me too. Yep. But it was, and it's the right thing for William to do. If you want to see William's going to one day be the head of state, be the monarch, and I think it's right that he should be there meeting these world leaders, and he does it very well.
Well, do you think, because we were told that there was it was a last-minute change. I think with things with Donald Trump, they often are kind of last-minute when you've got the president-elect. And William was given very short notice to go. The King couldn't make it. Do we think there's anything more than the fact that the King just had a diary clash? He wasn't avoiding the King. Or is there a protocol where the King might have to meet the President when he becomes the President? I mean, why William instead of the King, Arthur?
I think because William was available to go, and probably the King had too much on his plate. And also, look, he's energy with him at the moment. He's only got so much energy, and it was a sort of in and out visit, and perhaps he felt maybe it was for William to do.
I think absolutely. I think William is definitely the right person to do this. And as Arthur said, when he was younger, Charles did a lot of these things for the Queen, and it was a Sunday, and he probably needed to rest up, but I'm sure it wasn't as last minute as the palace made out, because there would have been quite a lot of arrangements to be made.
Absolutely.
And I mean, ever since he was a kid, a little boy, William has always been so polite and very thoughtful. And I remember Diana saying, that William would actually think, and he'd be very polite, and he'd shake hands with people. The only person he was rude to was Bob Geldof. Do you remember?
Well, and also he was also
his hair was messy.
Very circumspect with him as well. With Harry's brother, I remember when they were learning to ski, within 20 minutes Harry was like flying, and William was crying. I mean, he just couldn't get hold of it. I mean, he's just a bit. He's not adventurous like that, but
he thinks before he acts,
does,
and Harry acts before he thinks.
Well, I think it's quite well known that Harry and Donald Trump, or Harry and Meghan and Donald Trump, don't particularly get on. I wonder if those conversations took place in the 40 minutes.
I think Meghan don't get on with him. That's probably why Harry don't get on with him. I don't think, Harry's he's a pretty affable guy, and he would, if it was necessary, he'd obviously get on with him. If he was now working with the royal family and Donald Trump made an official visit here, Harry would do his job and do it properly.
Well, that's the importance. It's like with William not expressing opinions about world leaders means that he can go in and have a 40-minute chat, and Donald Trump is reverential and he's representing the UK. I mean, that's the reason why they don't come out with statements or comments that Harry and Meghan have done about Trump in the past. But that's probably me just talking about.
You're dealing with the President of the United States, a very powerful, role. I mean, you're dealing with the President of the United States, not about the person who's the President. It's, he's elected representative of the most powerful country in the world and leader of the free world. So he's a man you should respect and cater for.
Well done, William.
Well done, William. Yeah, top marks.
Well there.
Top marks, William.
Top marks. One thing that I did read afterwards, that Donald Trump had done an interview, I think, in the United States, and he spoke about this private conversation that he'd had with William in the ambassador's residence, and he said that William had told him that the King was fighting very hard, amid his cancer. What do we take from that? What do you read into that, Arthur?
Well, I think the latest news I've heard is that the King is well. He's winning the battle. But it is a battle. I mean, cancer's not it's a nasty thing, and it doesn't discriminate. And I think I saw him recently, and he looked in pretty good shape.